Look at that. That is crazy. Hey guys, welcome back. This is John, Hometown Auto. I got another video for you today on a 2003 Chevy Silverado 4.8 liter. Now, this Silverado, I just warrantied a transmission for this guy last week, and basically the first time they sent me the wrong transmission, and then they finally sent me a transmission. Now I get it in there, it's stuck in second gear. I can't believe this crap. I mean, I'm so aggravated. I just think they're using cheap parts, and they build them as cheap as they can. I'm not a fan of remanufactured transmissions. But anyway, let's get right into it. So I'll show you what's going on scan data. Basically, it's just staying in second gear. I've already driven this truck to confirm the complaint. It's not even throwing a code. Now, maybe I haven't driven it long enough. I don't know. And it's staying in second gear. We'll go into the powertrain, read fault code, transmission. Let me back up, read fault code, DTC. Well, I was wrong. There actually is a code. I checked this Friday and there wasn't one in here, so this is good. This will give me a little more direction on where to go. Let me look up the code description, see what's going on. Okay, so this is the flow chart for this actual code, and it basically asks if you've done a powertrain diagnostic check. Yes, I did. And then it asks inspect for correct transmission fluid level. I did all of that. And then on number 3, if you've checked the transmission fluid level, then you go and you install a scan tool, turn on the ignition with the engine off. It's saying clear the codes and save your freeze frame data record. I've already looked at it. It's not really helpful at all. And then it wants you to start the engine at idle and apply the parking brake and select each range, park, reverse, neutral. Does each selected range match the screen, match the scan tool display? So I think what it's referring to is this logic over here is you kind of got to look at a table to match that. And I found that right here. It says power switch logic. So in park and neutral, it should say high, low, high. So let's just do that first. And we'll start here and see what it says. Okay, I'm back in the car. Here's our scan data, and here is our chart. So with the engine in park or neutral, it should say high, low, high. So let's start it up. And it says high, high, high. Well, that's a problem. In reverse, it should say low, low, high. So I'm gonna switch it over to reverse. And it says low, high, low. And it's supposed to say low, low, high. Okay, let's go into drive 4, and it should say high, low, low. I think drive 4 is just drive. High, nope. It looks like this middle, which is B, is not changing at all. Let me just run, let's go to 3. No change. 3 is supposed to be high, high, low. 2, high, high, high. Well, 2 is supposed to be high, high, high. So that's why it's stuck. So that makes sense. It thinks it's in drive 2. High, high, high. That's what it always says. Yeah, so when I'm in drive, it's saying high, high, high. So it thinks it's in drive 2. See, when I'm in park right now, and I pulled up, this is the one I'm looking at, and it says drive 2, and it should say park. So there's something going on with this switch or the fluid pressure on the inside of this transmission. Let's look on down the flow chart and see what we have to do next. So we just did this test here. Select each range, park, reverse, neutral, drive 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's ask a question, does each selected transmission range match the scan tool? No. So go to step 4. Here is step 4. Turn off the ignition, disconnect the 20-way connector, that's the main wiring harness on the transmission. Then turn on the key with the engine off. Does the scan tool transmission fluid pressure switch parameter indicate high for all range signals? I don't know, let's find out. Okay, I got the truck lifted up, and it looks like we got to take off that. There's a plate right here on the side of the transmission so we can gain access to the 20-way connector. Right there is the connector. It's kind of hard to film. Let me unplug this and then we'll look at the scan data and see what it says. Okay, it's unplugged and it still says high, high, high. So let's see what the troubleshooting chart says. Okay, so what it wants me to do now is basically check the 3 wires that are responsible for this switch logic, and it wants me to basically turn off engine, install a jumper wire on the engine side of the 20-way connector, turn on the ignition using a digital multimeter and a terminal test kit, measure the voltage from terminal N to ground, measure the voltage from terminal R to ground, measure the voltage from terminal P to ground. Does the voltage measure within specification range? So it should be between 10 and 12 volts. And the wires I am specifically talking about, it's talking about these 3 wires. So they should have voltage on them because it has ignition voltage in the wiring diagram. So they should have voltage on N, R, and P. And it looks like that's a pink wire, a dark blue wire, and a red wire. So let's do that real quick, and since it's already unplugged, then check the voltage on those 3 wires. Okay, I got, these are the 3 pins we have to connect. I colored them in yellow just so I can see them easily. Okay, I got my meter right here, and this is a positive wire off of my meter. I hooked it up to this connector so that I can pin into the 20-way connector onto the transmission. And let's go through these. I got them marked, all 3 of them. We got voltage on that. It says 8 volts, but my battery is almost dead. It's only putting out like 9 volts. We got it on that wire and that one. So we have voltage on all 3 of the wires that we're supposed to. And it asks, does the voltage measure within its range? Yes, go to step 6. Connect a fused jumper wire from terminal N to ground while monitoring the scan tool. Do any other signals indicate low? So I think what it's wanting to do is see if they're shorted together maybe. When signal circuit A is grounded, do any other signal circuit indicate low. So it wants you to basically see if any of them are shorted together. Very doubt that's the case, but let's check just in case. Okay, now it wants me to ground out each one of these, and we should see a change from high to low. So I'm just going to ground it out with my test light. That's the safest way to ground circuits out in case there's a short. So I'm grounding that one out. You can see it switched to low. Let's go to the next one. I'll keep you focused in on this, and I'll go through each wire. There's only 3, and they should all switch to low. There's one wire, there's the other one, there's the middle one. So we left off by grounding all those wires. Do any of the other circuits indicate low? The answer is no. Go to 12. Test the signal circuit of the manual valve position switch for an open or short condition between the TFP manual valve position switch and the automatic 20-way connector. So you have to take the pan off of it to do this. Test the signal circuit of the manual valve position switch for an open or short and the automatic inline 20. Refer to wire circuit testing and wiring repairs. Okay. So it looks like to do this, we have to check this one should be open, pin in to ground, and R should be continuity to ground. And then D, well, P, let's go to N should be open, R should have continuity to ground, and P should be open. So let's check those real quick. Well, if I remember right, this circuit here, which is R, and it is the B, signal B, that was the one that always stayed on high. It looks like this middle, which is B, is not changing at all with signal B. So if we look at this, it's as if this switch is staying opened on this sensor. Now why, I do not know. So the only thing we can really do at this point, because we know these are fine because they're switching like they're supposed to. When I switch the, they're changing state, these two, they will change. But this one here would always stay on high. And it's not, it's supposed to be with engine off or with key on, just on. It never switched. So I'm gonna have to take this pan down and look at this fluid pressure manual valve and do some further testing just to see if there's an open circuit from here to here, because we know this is good from here to the computer. We've tested all that. So let's do that now. Okay, in order to get this pan down, this shift cable's in the way, and this bracket will hit the lip. This is a 4L60. So I need to get that all out of the way. So I'm going to have to take off this transfer case drive shaft. And so you just take off these 4 bolts, and it'll slide back just enough to probably pull it down and slide it out. And I probably won't film that, but and then there's 2 on this bracket here. To reach up here, there's 2 Torx bit screws that you have to undo, and then that'll come loose. And of course, you just pop this off. So I'll do that right now, and then I'll bring you back once I get the pan down and all that. Ew. Get you a big drain pan so you don't take a shower. Okay, I got the pan down, and this right here is the fluid pressure switch, and there's 3 wires coming off of it, and one of these wires is always reading open circuit. I don't know if it's the wire, the switch, but we're about to find out. So I'm going to unplug this and we'll check the continuity between this and the 20-way receptacle plug on the side of the transmission. All right, let's take this thing out and run some tests on it. So I'm testing this transmission fluid pressure valve. So when I turn it on, I have continuity on circuit. I don't know if you could see this, but that says E. And that is this pin, which is the B switch that never changes state on the scan tool. Well, I've been sitting there checking this fluid pressure switch out, and it appears to be working normally. I mean, it's not real complicated. This should be, the circuit we're having trouble with should be all shorted to ground when there's no pressure applied. So if you look at this, it should be high, low, high, and park and neutral. So I'm starting to think there's a pin fitment issue somewhere in the plug, because I checked the continuity from this wire where it comes out or goes into the fluid pressure switch all the way to the 20-way connector or the receptacle part, and we have continuity there. So why is it always reading high like the circuit's open? Okay, so how this fluid pressure switch works is these are little pressure valves, and when you push in on them, it basically just closes the switch. So on this circuit here, B, it's showing open circuit all the time. So I got the pressure switch out, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what all is going on here. And what I can see is I have it hooked up my positive to E, which is right here where my mouse is hovering, E, and the body of this whole sensor fluid pressure switch is ground, as you can see here. They all tie into the body of it. So when I turn this on continuity or ohms, it's doing just as it should. And this is supposedly the bad switch. I don't know what's going on here. Something's just not making sense. I mean, I've checked all the wires all the way to the PCM when we did the high-low test. All that's showing good. I checked the harness from the sensor inside the transmission all the way to the plug to the side of the transmission. It's not open circuited. Why is this thing reading high on the B circuit? Always, no matter what. I'm going to look a little more. I'm going to turn the camera off, try to figure this out, because it's really getting frustrating. So I put the sensor back in, screwed it in, and we're doing the same test, only now it's on the transmission. And I got my ground hooked up to it, and we're on the same wire to the sensor B circuit all the way over to the 20-way connector, and it should be beeping right now saying it's got continuity, and it's not. It's saying open line. Why is it when I put it in here, it opens the circuit up? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I think what's going on is when you put these bolts in it, it's opening up the circuit on on that particular circuit. I think maybe whenever they put this transmission together, they just ran it home and maybe damaged something inside this sensor. But it works fine when you take it out. Let me test that theory just to see if I'm right. Oh my gosh, you all have got to see this. This is crazy. So as soon as I loosen this up, the circuit closes. Watch. There it goes. You can hear the beep. And then as soon as I tighten it, so that's the problem. When you smash this thing, it opens the circuit and leaves this truck in second gear. I've never seen nothing like that. I can't believe I found that. That's crazy. This is one wild diagnosis. What are the chances? Let me get another switch here. Let's put it in. I'm gonna torque them bolts exactly to spec and retest. All right, got a new switch, fluid pressure switch right there. And it looks like the torque spec is 97 inch-pounds. Let's do it. All right, I got the new one in, and you'll never believe it. That was the problem. I mean, is that crazy or what? They didn't torque it right. That's all there is to it. They smashed the sensor, and it would only screw up when you tighten it down. Man, was that hard to find. Let me put this thing back together, put the fluid back in, start it up, take it for a test drive. Be done with this. All right, I got it all back together. I got the transmission fluid in it. Let's turn it on and let's read our fluid pressure switch and see if it's reading correctly. Okay, the key's on. Let's reconnect. Okay, let's read fault codes. Make sure there's none in. If there is, we'll just clear them. Okay, no fault codes. Read data, transmission. Here's the moment of truth. Yeah, high, low, high. So let's start it up. Okay, so that was nuts. And I'm gonna take it on a test drive and make sure it shifts real well. And let's do that right now real quick. And we'll end this video shortly. All right, we're getting ready to drive it. Here's what gear it should be in first. And the solenoids, just saying if they're coming on or off. Let's take it for a drive, see what happens. Okay, I'm taking off. First, second. I just felt third. One more gear. There it is, there's fourth gear. Well, I'm going to drive it around a little bit, but it all looks good. Crazy. I'm telling you, if y'all have made it this far, I appreciate it. I also have another video on a transmission solenoid. I think it was the 1-2 solenoid gone bad on a Silverado. That's a pretty interesting video. You should check that out. I don't see a lot of transmission videos out there, and I don't know why, because I get a lot of transmission fault complaints, and I try to fix as many as I can. Granted, most of them just need a transmission. There's only so much you can do. When you pull the pan down, it's full of BBs. You know, it's over. But hey, I really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll try to get another video out soon. Catch you on the next one.